Listen carefully. Keir Starmer thought he was stepping into a routine live radio show. What happened next stunned everyone. Angry callers, brutal questions, and an explosive revelation that could shake the foundation of his leadership. But here's the shocking twist. Tribal. I think it actually comes from coming into politics later in life. Outside of politics, most people, at home or at work, see a problem, get people. One of the most ruthless callers was perhaps not just an angry citizen, but one connected to the inner circles of Labour itself. Was it a public attack from his own party? Stay tuned as we uncover the explosive truth behind this dramatic display. Keir Starmer, often seen as a measured and calculated politician, found himself in uncharted territory when a live radio appearance turned into an explosive confrontation as angry callers lined up to vent their frustration. But before we dive into the firefight, here's a secret to pique your curiosity. One of those callers, seemingly an ordinary member of the public, was later revealed to have significant relationships with a senior figure in Starmer's inner circle, a revelation that could have seismic consequences for his leadership. As the show began, Starmer was calm, ready with his talking points, and seemingly confident that this would be another routine opportunity to connect with the public. Yet, the mood changed almost immediately as the first caller asked a blunt, unexpected question. Why does it seem like Labour under your leadership is afraid to take a stand on anything? The question caught Starmer off guard. He responded with his characteristic politeness, explaining his focus on consensus building. But the tone was set, and the callers took off the gloves. The second caller, in a tone of audible frustration, went straight for the jugular, accusing Starmer of abandoning Labour's traditional working-class base in favour of catering to middle-class voters in the suburbs. The frustration was palpable. Do you even know what it's like for the average family right now? Do you understand how hard it is to put food on the table, let alone rising rents and energy bills? Starmer tried to respond with statistics and policy outlines, but his answers were interrupted by sharp interruptions, and it was clear that the public was not buying the rehearsed answers. By then, the radio host stepped in, insisting on civility, but the momentum was building, and Starmer found himself on the defensive. Before we move on to the next twist in this shocking story, take a moment to hit the subscribe button, stay ahead of the game and be the first to know when the truth comes out. By subscribing, you're joining a rapidly growing community of people who demand more than just headlines. And don't forget to click the notification bell to be alerted when another new story comes along. Together, we're uncovering the stories that others won't tell. The third caller acknowledged one of the most contentious issues of his leadership, his perceived lack of interest in Brexit. You supported a second referendum, then respected the will of the people. Which one is it? Do you think people don't notice how you change your stance in terms of audience? The accusation struck a nerve with the audience and sparked murmurs from the studio audience. Starmer launched into a lengthy explanation of the complexities of Brexit and Labour's priorities, but the damage was done. The sense that he was drifting between the two without committing to a definitive position was now front and centre, leaving many listeners skeptical. Social media began to light up with hashtags like Starmer on the spot and Labour leadership crisis as clips of the exchange went viral in real time. Still, the real fireworks were yet to come. Midway through the broadcast came the moment that would completely change the narrative. Initially, a seemingly ordinary caller was identified as someone close to a senior Labour strategist. The revelation, which initially came in the form of a tweet from a political insider, raised eyebrows across the political spectrum. The question now became whether it was all a coincidence, or was there a systematic attempt within Labour to test or undermine Starmer's leadership on the live broadcast. The caller, whose tone was calm but cutting, delivered a line that would dominate the headlines for days. Sir Keir, how can we trust a leader who refuses to take risks? Isn't leadership about standing up for something, even if it's unpopular? The studio fell silent. Starmer, visibly taken aback, began to respond, but his words rang hollow against the weight of the accusation. The revelation of the caller's ties to Labour deepened the intrigue, with many speculating about internal divisions within the party. Was this a calculated move to push Starmer out of his comfort zone, or something more sinister? As the show wore on, the floodgates opened. Callers began criticizing Labour's economic policies, or lack thereof. One particularly heated exchange revolved around the party's ambiguous stance on wealth tax. A small business owner accused Starmer of pandering to wealthy elites while failing to meet the needs of struggling entrepreneurs. You talk about fairness, but where is the fairness in squeezing small businesses while letting billionaires go unscathed? Starmer tried to pivot by highlighting Labour's proposals for economic reform, but the response rehearsed and did not satisfy the caller or the audience. By then, Starmer's frustration was starting to show. His usual composure gave way to defensive moments, and his attempts to regain control of the narrative only highlighted the gaps in his messaging. Meanwhile, speculation about the internal caller continued to dominate social media, with some suggesting the incident could be part of a larger strategy to challenge Starmer's leadership from within. Labour's internal divisions, often hidden behind closed doors, were now on full display, and the timing could not have been worse. The climax of the broadcast came when a young caller, representing a group of university students, asked a devastatingly simple question. What good is Labour if it's just going to be a soft version of the Tories? The question hung in the air, forcing Starmer to face the most damaging criticism of his leadership, that he lacked the bold vision to distinguish Labour from its political rivals. Starmer's response, by definition, felt defensive. He argued that Labour needed to focus on pragmatism and electability in order to win back power. But to many listeners, this seemed like an excuse for a lack of ambition. As the broadcast wound down, the mood was undoubtedly tense. Starmer, who entered the studio as a confident leader trying to connect with the public, was visibly shaken, his leadership facing intense scrutiny. The revelation about the insider caller added an extra layer of intrigue, leaving both supporters and critics wondering about the future of Labour under his watch. The show not only exposed Starmer's challenges in connecting with voters, but also raised serious questions about his ability to unite his party and led it to victory in the next election. In the aftermath, political commentators quickly weighed in, with some arguing that the broadcast was a much-needed reality check for Starmer, while others saw it as a damaging blow that could weaken his standing within the party. Social media was abuzz with reaction, with clips of the highly heated exchanges garnering millions of views and sparking intense debate about the direction of Labour. As the dust settles, one thing is clear. This live radio appearance will go down as a pivotal moment in Starmer's leadership journey, and its impact will be felt for months, if not years, to come. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the explosive clash, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay up to date with the latest political drama and inside stories. There's plenty more to unpack, and we'll be here to guide you every step of the way. Subscribe to my channel, and share with others in your community. Like and comment. Take care. Goodbye.